Hello, and welcome to another episode of Inspiration Soup. I'm Jakki Gioia, your host of Journey into Joy, and today we're going to be talking about synchronicities as we make one of my favorites, olive soup. And I will be sharing this wonderful experience with my friend and colleague and special guest, Susan Hetrick of Barnegat. We will be two wild women in the kitchen today. So before we begin, let us start with an intention for the day. And today, life is full of inspiring moments and synchronicities and little joys that we need to remember to harness. Because when life gets tough, we need to be able to draw on those positive experiences and realize things can work out for us. Good things can happen, and things are put in our path for a reason, whether we see it now or not. Somewhere down the line, we're going to understand that and it'll become more clear. So let's just set an intention now. How wonderful it is to have sparks of inspiration and imagination and wonderful connections to come to us today and for the days to come. We are open to receiving all the gifts that Spirit and God and the universe can bring to us. We now are open and ready to receive all the goodness that life can bring. And so, on that note, I'd like to share with you a song I wrote called Keep on Livin'. And I wrote that at a time when it was important to remember that life can be tough, but we have to keep on going. Sometimes at night, I stare at the stars, wondering where you are and if you're all right. No one really knows what's on the other side, so I'm keeping the faith that you're walking in the light. And I get to thinking, life is what we make it. We don't get a second chance. And I get to thinking, I wish you and I had one more dance, because we can't go back and do it all again. We gotta keep on living the best we can. We only get one life. We never know what's round the bend. We gotta keep on living. We gotta keep on living. So just remember to keep on living. I have my special guest here, Susan, with me today. And Susan and I had met in, I think, 2007 when I was looking for a massage therapist to work with my parents. And we had, now it's 2024, and we've known each other all this time. And it's just been an interesting path and journey, knowing how we've crossed a few times. And, I think that the important people in your life, you tend to cross paths with several times. And we met at a class shortly after meeting for the first time at her office. And that was just so interesting to, show up at a class not knowing we were actually going to be there together. And then here we are. So Susan, did you want to talk about a little what you did as a therapist and, tell everyone about, the work that you used to do?
Well, I was a massage therapist for almost 20 years. And the reason I got into it was because I was very much into healing at my church. So I was always involved up front. People would come to me for prayer and healing. And I just thought, healing doesn't only have to be in the church. Healing can happen anywhere. And a good friend of mine was going to massage school at the time. and she wanted me to go, but I wasn't ready just then. And so I've always been into natural health and whatever. And I decided, okay, I need hands-on experience to do this healing work. So I went to massage school, opened up an office, and started working on people. And then I studied various modalities, energy medicine, essential oils, and whatever. Just you name it, I studied it. And so I continued my work. And Jakki and I became friends during this. And then we would exchange our services together when we needed help. So
Susan
that's
had a
how.
beautiful center. It was very tranquil in there. So she always had plants, and I think there was a fountain, and
Oh, it was, yeah, it
yeah.
was my place of peace and serenity,
Mhm.
because at that time my daughter and her two children were living with us, and there was no peace in the house at all. But so I couldn't wait to retreat at my office. And yeah, it was a great place. I loved it.
And you did that for how many years in
Almost
that
20.
center?
Almost 20. I graduated massage school 2002, and then so when did COVID hit?
2020.
Yeah, 2020. So it was about 18 years, yeah.
And how did COVID affect you?
Well, it was interesting because you always know when times are right to do something. At that time, I was taking care of my mother, and she was aging, and she lived around the corner in an apartment. As soon as my daughter and her children moved out, we moved my mother into our house. And it was great. It was nice. I had her there, but I noticed that the workload was becoming more and more and more. And my, I have a brother, but he lives in Colorado. So he wasn't able to come and help me physically with her. And my husband, Gary, did, what he could. And so when she moved in, not long after COVID hit, and, with all the regulations and everything, I said, this is the perfect time to retire. I need to spend more time with my mother. And so that was it. I just knew. And so I closed the office and I retired.
That's a bit of a synchronicity, I would say.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. So when I did retire, what happened was my mom loved TV. She always did. And so I retired. I went from an active life, and I thought, well, I need to spend some real quality time with my mom, not just always taking care of her. So I sat and watched TV with her for hours and hours. And I would cook and we would eat and we would watch TV. And it was like, hence, I put on a lot of weight and I became very almost immobile. It's like, ah. And then all of a sudden, she passed. And I was like, I became old really fast. Like my body feels old. My mind is not old, but my body is. But anyhow, I love to cook and I love to eat. And so when Jakki mentioned inspiration soup, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. When she asked me to do this, I said, yeah,
You're
this
my
is.
first guest too.
Oh,
So
thank
this is the
you.
best way to kick it off.
Thank you.
And we're doing a recipe from the Wild Women in the Kitchen
And I
cookbook.
love that too. That's awesome because I'm a wild woman.
Yeah.
My hair is too subdued right now. I wish it was like.
Oh, you should see pictures of Susan when she was in high school. Woo! Jailbait.
Skinny. I look at myself and I say, is that me? Who's that woman?
So, yeah, thank you for doing this. I'm so excited, and we're going to have some fun in the kitchen. And I got the idea to do this show because I turn on the television and I'd like to see more stories about real people. And it seems like a lot of the representation on talk shows are celebrities who are pitching or promoting their book or promoting their movie or something else. And, that's all great. We like to get inside their lives and see what they're up to. Um, but wouldn't, everybody has a story to tell. And there's a lot of stories of triumph and inspiration that we can get from each other. And I think, that's the real gem. So um, I'm looking forward to doing this. We're going to get started in the kitchen right away.
Good.
Ready?
I'm getting hungry.
Okay. Okay, so here we are. Let's make some soup. We are cooking olive soup from the recipe book, Wild Women in the Kitchen. And our ingredients are avocado oil, 3 cloves of garlic, and half an onion, and a stalk celery, 1 whole zucchini, a can of beans, fresh spinach leaves, red table wine, olives, petite diced chopped tomatoes, basil, fresh lemon juice. You could use bouillon or already prepared broth. Shall we start?
Okay. Preheat the...
Yes, let's preheat to medium heat. You know, soup is one of my favorite things to eat. And I think not only is it healthy, but it's like having a warm hug on a cold day. Wouldn't you agree?
I do. Yes.
And you could eat soup.
Oh, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love soup. My favorite.
Yeah. So here we go. We're going to start with
2 tablespoons of olive oil.
Okay, so I normally cook with olive oil, but I have avocado oil here just to jazz things up a little bit, make things a little different.
So
Which
you can eyeball it.
Also good as has healthy ingredients in it. So yeah, I never really measure my ingredients too well, right?
And 1 cup chopped onion.
All right, we're starting with the onions. Here we go. We have the onion already chopped up. I use about a half of an onion. It makes about a cup. That's good. So we want to make sure that we get the oil nice and hot. When we go to put the onions in, they get sizzling right away. And we're just going to get them in there, give it a little stir. If you can't eat onions, obviously you're going to have a different flavor. But, you know, what we're doing is we are starting the foundation of our soup. And you're going to be able to start your soup with whatever foundation you can tolerate. And, you know, onions and garlic are like basic staples in the kitchen to flavor food. Just like, you know, when we are growing up, we have a foundation that's set by the parents that we're born into. And I like to look at soup like that, like it's a mirror of our lives. So, you know, not everybody has the same foundation. Everyone has a different foundation. So you've got to work with what you're given, right?
Right.
Yeah. You could also use shallots.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I use shallots
onions.
a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're sort of like the middle ground between an onion and a garlic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Shallots are strong. You can use, if you don't like strong onions, the sweet Vidalia onions are beautiful.
This is the sweet Vidalia.
You can hardly taste them.
Yeah. You could use leeks. Leeks are also
leeks are nice.
beautiful, light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. I love leeks.
I don't know if you watch Emily in Paris, but one of my favorite episodes is when they are highlighting the leek and the chef shows Emily how many different ways he could prepare the leek.
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh my gosh. I love the show. I think I've watched it the whole seasons 4 times. It's just so beautiful. You get to see the city and the country. And of course, you know, there's a perfumer as one of the characters, and being an aromatherapist, I just love like following along with all of that. And he has a whole lavender field at his home.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, garlic. 3 cloves of garlic chopped.
We got the garlic. As my grandmother used to say, the garlic.
The garlic.
Do you have fond memories of cooking with your grandmother?
No, I never cooked with my grandmother.
Really?
Never. No, I don't know. She just made what she made and I ate it. But
you never learned from her.
No, and I never cooked with my mother either.
Really?
No, but she would put her tomato sauce was the best, but I would always go in there and doctor it up when she wasn't looking. Taste, add more. Taste, add more. Yeah. Nah.
What did it need? More garlic, more salt?
Well, I put a lot of Italian herbs in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
More basil.
More basil.
What's next?
Okay. 1 stalk celery diced.
Okay, we got the celery here. It's already chopped. You know, this is sort of like half a mirepoix when you do
the carrots.
Right? Mm-hmm. No carrots. You could add carrots to this. Good. You know, it wouldn't hurt.
No.
It's like I said, this is your foundation. You're getting to create your own foundation here and build your flavors. I think we need to add some broth soon, or
2 teaspoons of dried basil.
oh,
You want to just get that in there cooking.
So it's nice and fresh. I'm going to put like a tablespoon because it's larger pieces. Because we're being a little wild.
We're wild, that's right.
And yeah, nice stir.
Okay.
And it releases the fragrance of the basil.
Oh gosh, it smells so good.
Gets everything going. Yeah. And then is it time for the broth?
Zucchini.
Oh. Shouldn't we put
no, we want to saute.
The vegetables first?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
You want to saute it up a little.
Zucchini's going in.
There we
go.
go.
I did wash my hands before we started. Just okay. Always want to make sure your hands are clean.
Salt and pepper to taste.
Already?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. You have to season as you go.
I always wait for my salt.
Why?
Well, because after I put the broth in, I never know if I'm going to actually need salt. But this is low sodium broth that I have found. So if you'd like to, you could also use Better Than Bouillon and make your own. I usually keep this on hand and make all my soups with it. But I thought we would use the actual stock. All right, so we're going to put some salt.
Pepper.
It's a little ducks for spring. Geese, I'm sorry.
Geese.
A little pepper.
Okay. And then the broth. Now the broth.
Time for broth. Now, this recipe calls for 3 cups of broth. And I got a 48-ounce container. So this is about twice that. I think this is 48 ounces. Yeah. I like broth. So, do you feel good about adding more?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Now, also, I have a special ingredient for this soup that's not in the recipe. So we're going to need a little extra broth for that.
Yeah, you will.
And we'll reveal that in just a minute. Yeah, I think 3 cups is actually a very small amount of broth. Yep. I like broth.
I do too.
Yeah. Plus, with all the vegetables we're putting in it,
okay.
We might even need more broth.
And the tomatoes.
Now we're going to add tomatoes.
Well, 1 14.5-ounce can chopped tomatoes.
I like the petite diced tomatoes because they're cut a little finer.
A 1/2 cup of dry red wine.
This is a red table wine. I'm trying this for the first time. It is called, let's see what this is, Gemma de Luna. It just had a really pretty bottle.
Luna is moon.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, it is pretty. I like it. Smells good.
1/2 cup, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. All right, here we go. Wonderful.
All right. 2 cups of cooked white beans.
These are one of my favorite beans. I like the little ones.
I love cannellini beans.
You like the bigger ones, yeah?
I like beans, period.
You like beans?
Yeah.
Should we say it?
What? beans, good for the heart. The more you eat. Oh, no.
All right.
A cup of chopped ripe black olives.
And we got the olives here.
And that's what our soup is. It's olive soup.
Now, and this is a little story. I used to make this soup without olives because I love the soup so much, but I didn't always have olives in the house. So it works just fine without the olives. Just saying, you don't need to put all the ingredients that we are putting. Obviously, if you don't like zucchini, you can leave that out. Put something else. If you want red beans, black beans, do it to your discretion. That's what life is, right?
Yep.
Full of choices.
And a tablespoon of lemon juice.
You gotta squeeze a little lemon juice. Obviously, you want to take the seeds out first. When we just eyeball it, right? We have more broth in this than we did in the recipe, so I think we can be a little generous with the lemon juice. What do you think?
Yeah.
And then we can always change it later. We can add to it if
Mm-hmm.
we need to.
Yeah.
We have an extra lemon piece here.
Okay.
And then, as this cooks down a little bit, we are going to finish with some wilted spinach. That is not my secret ingredient. I like to put spinach in pretty much any soup that I make. I always have 2 ingredients in my house, mushrooms and spinach.
Uh-huh.
They're really good sources of protein for vegetarians. And this isn't a vegetarian soup, but it's always nice to have a little green, right? We need the fiber.
Oh, yeah.
And this is my secret ingredient for today. I'm adding chicken and roasted garlic tortellini.
Ooh, that's going to be good. Oh, and that'll just soak up a lot of this juice. It'll be perfect, I think.
Yeah, I love tortellini soup.
Mm.
So we're really getting wild here.
Mm.
This is going to take a good 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
We want to make sure it comes to a boil before we put the other ingredients in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's just let that sit and simmer for a bit.
Okay.
And
I'll have a little taste of that red wine.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Mm.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Of
when
course.
You're cooking, you have a little. I'll go get the wine glasses.
Goonie here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Salute.
Slante mat.
Wow.
In my Italian heritage, I've turned Scottish.
And how did that come about?
Oh, well, my favorite show, Outlander. My favorite man, besides my husband, Jamie. I mean, he knows he's my favorite man. He buys me Jamie everything. In Outlander, of course.
To Jamie.
Anyway, to Jamie.
And to wonderful husbands.
To wonderful husbands. We can't live without them. I'm telling you, they're the greatest. Well, they let us be us.
Yeah, as long as you have someone that lets you be you.
Yes, right? Absolutely. Yep.
Isn't that is the key?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Because life is too short to be diminished and ridiculed and right? Minimized.
Yeah, there's no room for that.
You have to be a strong woman, strong wild woman.
Nice.
That's delicious.
That is good. I like it.
Wow, I'm not a big red wine fan, but
this is good.
I think that
red
bottle
gem Italian wine. The bottle is really pretty.
Drew me in, and now I'm a fan. That's wonderful. Well, this is so nice, Susan. How exciting! How fun!
I'm having a good time
cook together.
Yeah, it is fun.
We should stir the pot.
The flame is up a little high just until it simmers and starts to boil, and then we can turn it down a little bit.
That's like life too, right? Like we go through different phases.
Oh yeah.
Like seasons, and I think that the Chinese medicine really hit on something with the elements, right?
Yeah.
And during certain seasons, one element is at its peak more than another. So like we have.
It's a very interesting analogy to life.
So in your teens and early 20s, I believe it is, you're in the wood phase of your life, which is your creativity, your you're becoming more independent, and you're learning how to move through life and get your feet on the
Right.
ground, right?
Right.
And then in the fire phase, which comes next, it's where you're really living your passion, and you're feeling your sense of vitality, and that comes through your like 30s and 40s. And then in the next phase is the earth, and that is when you really feel settled in your life, and you're like more of like your 50s, where you've got things you can relax a little bit, you really feel more secure. It's an interesting thing the way that they have. So we're going to be turning up the heat.
Yeah.
You're turning up the heat.
Turning up the heat.
In the kitchen, in the bedroom.
Wherever you want to turn it up, that's where you go.
So, and it's also about overcoming your obstacles and learning how to navigate life, right?
Yeah, it's all a learning process. Life is different for each of us. We all have our own experiences, our own ups and downs, and it's how we learn from them and how we accept them and how they mold us. It's hard. I feel so bad for some of my friends. They don't seem real happy, and they've had a lot going on in their lives, and they just can't seem to get over it. And even, with children, like you have older children, sometimes you think your biggest problems are when they are little, but not always. Your children are always your children.
Yes.
And if they go through a hard time in life, and it affects you deeply. So yeah, it's
because you only want the best for them.
Do, always.
Yeah. It's a circle of life. You know what you've been through, and you want to be there to help get them through those tough times. And we don't go through the same things, so sometimes it's hard to really know what's inside someone unless they open up and share, and some people don't. Right?
No, they don't.
Some people let fear get the better of them, and cause them to stay stuck in in not moving forward in their life because they're afraid. And
so your journey into joy is like it's a great motivator. People know they need to know how to journey into joy. If you have no joy, your life is like, it's flat. You feel almost dead. Because joy, I have joy in everything I do, everything I see outside, the birds, everything brings me joy. And you can't let anybody steal your joy.
Yeah.
They start stealing your joy, walk away. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Did you have an experience yourself that was particularly challenging to get over, and want to share about that?
Well, I don't know where to start. I think an interesting thing is, okay, so I owned a plant store. That was before Jessica was born. That was almost 45 years ago. I moved my store from Bradley Beach to Neptune. I got held up at gunpoint the week I found out I was pregnant with Jessica.
Oh, wow.
And it was late because I wasn't afraid to be in the store. Some guy came in and he proceeded to rob me, grabs my cash drawer.
Oh my God.
And he wanted my purse. And I'm screaming at him like a mother bear, like mother lioness. I was ready to attack the guy, really crazy.
Yeah.
So he walks out. He's like, lay low, woman. And he walked out.
Lay low.
Lay low. And the next day I closed my store. That's it. I was done.
Wow.
Closed it. I said to Gary, I can't do it anymore. And so I worked for a garden center. And the guy was nice. He bought everything I had. It was great. So, I got over that.
Look at that, how you were taken care of. After that, that really awful experience, then suddenly you have a blessing come to you, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
My faith, I would say, got me through everything in life. My faith became very strong when my children were very little. Justin was very little. And so when Jessica was like 3. So when I got my faith, I was like, whoa. I could not believe the transformation It was like a 360-degree circle my life took.
Well,
It was the time, the right time. And so what happened was during that time, I got into a really good Bible believing, Bible preaching church, and I brought my kids to church with me all the time.
mhm.
They were in church a lot. And so Gary was on the road, and it was rough. And we went through some rough times during that period. But my faith has gotten me through everything. Because there were women, it's so easy for us to body shame ourselves.
Yeah.
And I do it all the time, and I know I shouldn't.
Mm.
But I listened to a really good speaker. My assistant pastor's wife said, we should not shame our bodies. God gave us our bodies. We are a temple of the Holy Spirit.
Yes, we are.
Yes. And so, all of that seeped into my soul
Mhm.
and my spirit. And I'm like, okay, you're right. God loves me.
Mhm.
And he loves me a lot because he dug me out of the pit. I'm telling you.
What is that? What do you mean by the pit?
Out of the pit.
I have a
Yeah.
hard time believing that.
Oh, well.
Knowing you that I know you now.
No, you don't know me when I was younger.
No.
Bad girl.
Oh.
Yeah, bad.
So you weren't just hot. You were bad.
I was bad.
I
I was bad.
have a hard time believing that.
Yeah, well.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Only Gary knows the details, but
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
it's just
okay.
like.
Well, I guess what do you mean by bad? Like
bad.
we're not judging. We never judge here, right?
No.
But
bad. I did bad things.
okay.
Did bad things. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's nothing I'm proud of, believe me, but I thank God that he saved my soul because I was going to hell for sure.
Oh my God.
But now I'm not. So praise the Lord. I'm anyhow, yeah.
So what you overcame was judgment of yourself, or what would you say? What did you feel like you overcame then?
Probably that. And I overcame fear like that. That happened overnight because I was so fearful of everything. And that just puts you in a state of crazy.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. Was that after your break-in, the robbery?
Was, yes.
Mm-hmm.
After the break-in. Mm-hmm. Took me a while. I worked at the garden center, and then I did house cleaning, and then I worked at my church, and then I said, I want my own business again. Well, I had my own business doing house cleaning.
Oh, okay.
But Jessica, she's in and out. Me, I went into people's houses. I was there all darn day. They wanted to feed me. We would sit and talk, and she's, hi. But anyhow, it was wonderful. They were all beautiful people. But yeah, overcoming fear is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that fear can be anything in life. So
I would imagine it would be a little paralyzing to want to have your own business again, or just wherever you go. Did you go for therapy for that?
No, no therapy.
No, nothing. Didn't talk to anyone. That's a major trauma to go through.
No, the Lord dealt with my traumas. I didn't need to talk to anybody. To me, I mean, some people need therapy. I'm not a big one for therapy.
You went to church.
Yeah, I went to church.
Yeah.
That was my therapy.
Yeah, okay. Oh, looks like our soup is boiling.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess it's time to throw our pasta in.
Okay.
That's a lot of pasta in here, so I don't know if we're going to put it all. Maybe about half of the package, right?
Yep.
It's very colorful. It's
it
like
is.
the flag of Italy, with the red, white, and green.
Yeah.
Do you know what area of of Italy your family was from?
Nobody knew anything.
No?
I heard Napolitan. I heard Abruzia. I don't know for sure. I could never get a straight answer.
Oh, okay.
Out of my grandmother, my aunts, my father.
Really?
No. My grandmother, she was so funny. Gary and I, we were still in high school. We decided to cut class. I said, I'm going to take you to my grandma's house because you're going to love her. He was dying. She was so funny. Oh my God. You kids are not smoking the pops.
The pops?
The pops. Pot. She called it the
The
pops.
pops.
She was really funny. He loved her. And she loved him.
Ah,
And I
that's
loved her.
awesome.
I used to cook for her all the time. When she got sick, I would make her soup. I would juice for her. Yeah.
You would juice for her. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Smells delicious. I can't wait to eat it.
It looks like it's just about done.
Yeah.
We just have to wait for the pasta to heat up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, I think it's pretty well there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know, that's the good thing about the soup is you can do it quick.
It's quick. Yeah.
Quick. And
I
all
like
the vegetables are, you know, they're already cooked basically. You know,
Yeah.
zucchini doesn't take very long.
No.
So my grandmother was always in the kitchen, right? And every time company came, she had the whole spread in her freezer,
Wow.
right? She, you know, I mean, she would stock it. She just knew, I guess. Maybe it was instinct. I don't. Maybe she just loved to cook so much.
That's great.
She always had like a 3-course meal ready to go in her freezer. She'd go in. She'd company's here. Would pull out the meatballs.
Oh yeah.
Pull out the soup. Pull out the sauce. Yeah, she used to just. She loved to cook. That was her way of showing love.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that, you know, she had a restaurant as well.
Oh, did she? My grandmother ran a restaurant.
Really?
And my parents were both in the restaurant business.
Oh my God, your parents?
Yeah. My mother was a waitress. My father was a waiter, a captain, bartender. Yeah, they did everything.
Oh, and that's interesting because your daughter is into food and cooking and serving, and you're so much into cooking as well. I know it's such a beautiful gift.
It is.
And I find that cooking is a way that I show love too. I don't always like to cook the things that other people like. I like to cook things I like.
Yeah, I know.
And then force them to like it.
They have to learn to like what we like.
To learn to like. I think we're just about ready. So if there's anything that you would like to leave the listeners with for the day.
Well, you know, soup is like single ingredients and they come together and they form a whole. Tasty, delectable, enticing thing. Life is like that too. You know, we have the bad things that come along, but we really need to learn how to deal with the bad things in our lives and think positively. There was a phrase that always got me through life. Well, there were three phases. My one spiritual mentor was Ruth Ann. She lived across the street from me. And as soon as I moved in, I heard she was a Christian and we became good friends. And she always said, Lord, change my heart, my mind, and my attitude. That's the basis for life, you know? You can go around being not forgiving people or being bitter. And that does nothing but drain you of joy and energy. Your mind controls everything. Yeah. You know, so a man thinks he is. So if you think, okay, positively and think on the good things, your life will be better. So, and your heart, in your heart, you need to protect your heart because it's the wellspring of life.
The wellspring of life.
Yes. Yeah. And love, you know, you need to put on more love. I used to listen to Elizabeth Elliot. Her husband was a missionary and he went to South America in a plane with 3 other men. And they went back and forth 2 or 3 times to see the natives there. Well, the last time they were all killed. Oh. The natives killed them. They tried to make friends with them. Oh. The natives killed them. And she had just had a baby. It was very tragic. Oh. But she started teaching on the radio. I used to listen to her all the time. And she said, underneath are the everlasting arms of God. You know, he will always lift you up if you believe that he's always with you. And then I used to listen to Dr. Robert A. Cook I loved him. He was so conservative, but I loved him. And he would say, walk with the king today and be a blessing. And that's what I say to people. Walk with the king today and be a blessing. Bless people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people need blessing.
Yeah.
So it's, you can walk in a grocery store, maybe you had a fight or maybe you don't want to be there. But if you look at somebody and give them a big smile, maybe that's all they needed for that day.
The gentleman at the checkout last night that was checking me out, he at the grocery store, he was so full of life and joy, and he just tried everything he could to put a smile on everyone's face that came
that
down
was
his
nice.
lane. I know, it was really beautiful, and I think his name was Jay.
Oh.
And Jay works at ShopRite. We're recognizing you today, Jay. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, that's
joy to everyone.
That's important.
It makes a difference.
It does.
Should we try the soup and
yes,
see
we
if
should.
it needs any doctoring? I think we're good here. 2 spoons. Would you like to try yours?
That's nice. That's very fresh tasting.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Could use a little bit of salt, I think, because we use that low sodium broth. What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah. Or grated cheese.
Oh yeah, we got grated cheese. We got that.
Yes, I love cheese. I love cheese.
Well, we are going to enjoy our bowl of inspiration soup. We hope that you all have enjoyed your time with us. We really thank you for being there. And if you would like to get more information on getting a healing session with me, or follow me up on Facebook or any of the social platforms, you can check out the links in the video below, or you can go to journeyintojoy.com. And I hope you have a great day, and always remember, be nice to yourself.